this year's Halloween special, I've decided to lay off disturbing bosses and music, and take a look at gaming's greatest monsters. How I define a monster is any creature that is aggressive, deadly, threatening, and possibly even large in size. Now for this list, I'm breaking my play before put rule, and I'm including monsters from horror games. So let's get to the fun.
Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about.
Undead creatures are one thing. A gigantic ball made of the undead is an entirely different ballpark. Aside from being incredibly morbid, Legion of the Castlevania series is also an incredibly inventive monster. Slashing Legion's shell makes its corpses fall off and start to attack you. This means that you have to destroy Legion's shell and attack its core before you literally drown in a sea of corpses. Ugh. Either way you slash it, Legion is not just a memorable boss battle, but a genuinely disturbing monster.
Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about.
Of all the monsters in the Zelda franchise, Ganon himself is probably the most famous. Ganon's had many different incarnations as the Zelda series has evolved. He's been a trident-wielding pig sorcerer, a hulking creature holding two equally massive blades, and a feral dark beast. Despite Ganon being a very menacing beast, I still wonder to this day why Ganon is a boar instead of, say, a dragon. Well, it's original, and besides, this means that Nintendo's probably the only thing that has ever made a pig look menacing. Aw, cute piggy. Ah! Scary piggy! Run!
Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about.
I defy you to tell me that this clip doesn't make you cringe in fear at least a little. Wow. The regenerator from Dead Space is an absolute menace. It's also known by some as the Hunter, which is a nickname that it very well deserves. The Hunter pursues you throughout the entire adventure and regenerates whatever limbs it loses. There are no weapons that can kill this thing. It is literally unstoppable. Except for one thing. The Hunter is kind of allergic to shuttle engines.
Burn, baby, burn.
Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about.
Shadow of the Colossus is a game with consistently amazing boss battles. Every boss in the game is gargantuan in size. But does that mean that they're exactly monsters? I don't think so. Phalanx, my favorite boss battle ever, never once tries to attack you willingly. It's not a threatening creature at all, but there is one Colossus I can call a monster. Durge, the 10th Colossus. Known as the Sand Tiger, Durge is the only Colossus in the game that is out to eat you. This enormous serpent moves at absurdly fast speeds, and it is so strong that getting bitten by it actually does more damage than getting stepped on. You can only escape this monster and its insane speed by riding your horse and galloping away from it. Before Durge leaps up to eat you, it shows its soul-piercing eyes. If you manage to shoot one, Durge will go out of control and will hit a wall. When this happens, you'll be able to attack the sigils on its back, but not for long. Soon Durge will dislodge itself from the wall and begin chasing you all over again.
Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about.
I really wanted to put the regenerators from Resident Evil 4 on this list. But as much as they scare the living crap out of me, They just aren't Nemesis. Nemesis is such a cool monster that the game he appears in, Resident Evil 3, literally has a subtitle dedicated to it. Though Nemesis looks like an average thug clad in biker gear, Nemesis is far from human. What really makes Nemesis such an effectively scary monster is the fact that it chases you throughout the whole game. Not only that, but Nemesis is incredibly resilient, and it never dies even after getting riddled with bullets over the course of countless encounters. However, Nemesis does lose points because his final form is surprisingly weaker than his normal form.
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about.
Near invincible creatures seem to be a trend on this list, but in my opinion, the Dahaka from Prince of Persia Warrior Within tops them all. While the Dahaka isn't as frightening as the Hunter or Nemesis, it does its job much better. Imposing and dark, the Dahaka is an enforcer of fate's will. It hunts down the prince for 2 years straight due to the prince escaping his fate. The Dahaka is the ultimate chaser. It endlessly chases after you, attempting to kill you with its dark tentacles. Whenever the Dahaka chases you, I Stand Alone by Godsmack plays in the background, and all you can think is run! And as the Dahaka gets closer to you, the screen begins to increasingly become grayscale, as if to say you're running out of time. The Dahaka only has one weakness: water. So unless you have the water sword, you can't kill the Dahaka. Ultimately, not only is the Dahaka relentless, all-powerful, and threatening, it's just really cool.
Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about.
The God of War series is as famous as Shadow of the Colossus is for its enormous bosses. But for a list of monsters, I'm not including any of the titans or gods, seeing as they all have a personality. If this was a list about size, then Kronos from God of War 3 would definitely get this spot. But this is about monsters, so in that case, without a doubt the best monster in the series is the Hydra from the original God of War. What's not to love about it? It's a gigantic 3-headed serpent! The Hydra may not be the absolute largest boss in the series, but let me put it this way. This is the first boss in the series, and it is friggin' huge! To begin the fight, you have to kill off the Hydra's 2 smaller heads by stunning them and then dropping blades on them. Once that's over, you have to climb up to the ship's mast, where the Hydra's gigantic middle head awaits. After stunning the Hydra's largest head, you have to use your strength to pull the Hydra towards the mast of the ship in order to break the mast into a smaller size. You hook onto the Hydra while hanging onto the edge of the mast, and you yank the massive beast down right onto the sharpened mast, impaling the Hydra in an epic cinematic display.
That was a battle.
Yes, Travis, we all agree with you.
Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about.
In any video game, I enjoy originality. And in a list about monsters, it takes a creature that's incredibly original to compete with the likes of famous monsters from movies. In that case, Chaos from Sonic Adventure definitely qualifies. Chaos has a blood-stained backstory, being a godlike entity that caused immense destruction thousands of years prior to Sonic Adventure. Chaos, a water being that can change shape, becomes stronger for every Chaos Emerald it obtains. Starting off as a 2-legged monster, Chaos transforms into a large fish-like creature, and then into, well, whatever the hell that is. Ultimately, when all 7 Chaos Emeralds are gathered, Chaos finally transforms into...
Run! It's Godzilla!
Chaos's final transformation is the skyscraper-sized perfect Chaos. This thing is so strong, it takes a super-powered hedgehog to beat it. When I made that Godzilla joke a while back, I wasn't kidding. Perfect Chaos may as well be the gaming equivalent of Godzilla. I consider Chaos in general to be very iconic because of its ability to become stronger, as well as its immense size as Perfect Chaos. To me, no amount of backlash to the 3D Sonics will ever change this fact.
Monsters. Guess after this, there'll be one less to worry about.
Warning, this next monster is more disturbing than the Broodmother, Gygus, and Pandora. Seriously, do I have to say anything else? I warned you. Pyramid Head from Silent Hill 2 is one of the most infamous monsters, no, things, ever put in a video game. Pyramid Head is such a symbolism-ridden being that it puts even Kefka to shame. A manifestation of James Sunderland's subconscious, Pyramid Head represents James's internal desire for punishment after the death of his wife, as well as the darkness within James's soul. As such, it exists only to punish and execute all that walks among Silent Hill. More than that, it represents pain. The helmet it wears is visibly uncomfortable, and the great knife that it holds is so heavy that it drags along the floor. But perhaps the scariest thing about Pyramid Head is that you don't ever see its face. Is Pyramid Head a human? Is it something even more hideous? What is definitely clear about Pyramid Head, though, is that it is incredibly iconic. Its appearance, backstory, and downright disturbing concept cement Pyramid Head as one of the greatest monsters in gaming history.
Monsters. Guess after this, there'll be one less to worry about.
That was a joke. Ha ha. Bad chance.
Monsters. Guess after this, there'll be one less.
Do you hear that? That is the sound of inevitability. That is the sound of your death. Your death at the claws of a vicious, life-force-sucking organism. That's right. I've chosen Metroids as the greatest monsters in gaming history. And how could I not choose them as anything less? They can kill you in seconds. They're insanely difficult to kill. And they even look like actual monsters. And if you're still not convinced by any of this, Metroids can evolve. I should warn you, right about now, I'm gonna be spoiling Metroid Other M. The strongest Metroid of them all, the Queen, not only looks very threatening, but it's also an incredible force to be reckoned with. A Queen Metroid spawns more Metroids to attack you, and they can swarm you and kill you very easily. The Queen is also incredibly resilient, and is able to survive missiles to the face and beams to the underbelly. And not to mention, the Queen Metroid is so damn strong that it turns Ridley into a rotting corpse. Truth be told, the Metroid series is packed with monsters that could have easily taken the #1 spot. But Metroids will always be the most iconic monsters in the series. I mean, the Metroid series is named after these creatures. I'm the Autarch of Flame, and I thought Other M was a good game, you unpleasable—
Cut!
Hey, that is my act.